Hello folks, Wager Detective here, 12:30 in the afternoon here, November 12th, 2025. We're going to handicap this Miami, Ohio versus Toledo game. Miami, 29 and 24 all-time versus Toledo. They have a 16-9-1 record at home versus Toledo. 5-5 in the last 10 matchups versus Toledo. If we take a look here, they lost last year 20-30 at Toledo. So 0-1, 1-1, 1-3, 2-3, 2-5, 4-5 in the last 9. I worked out a little math for everyone while I'm doing this before we got here. Miami is 4-5 last 9 versus Toledo, 23.3 to 27.1 points a game. And Miami, Ohio is 3-1 and a tie. Last 5 in Oxford. Average score 25.4 to 20.6 in those wins. Let's take a look and see what Toledo has done this year. That's who Miami will be playing tonight. Okay, so we go over here. We see what they're doing, what's going on. They have a 5-4 record this year, Toledo. Jason Candle's been there for forever. I mean, he is in his 11th year at Toledo, 78-44 record with a 64% win percentage. This year has probably had the easiest schedule out of all of the years he's been in there, but a 1.40 SRS and a minus 7.16 SOS. So if you look at that, he hasn't been playing a tough schedule this year. He is 3-5 in bowl games, okay? And he won last year in the games above Sports Bowl, win-loss in his last 4 bowl games, and then missed a couple. And then, so it looks like Jason Candle, decent coach, 2-time MAC of the Year coach. Okay, let's take a look and see what Toledo's done this year. As we said, they got the 129th easiest schedule in the nation, and they're only 5-4. So we put that into a little context. Let's take a look at the MAC here and see what's going on there. All right, this game is very, very important to both teams, as you see here. You got Miami, Ohio, and you got Toledo. So Miami's 4-1 in the conference, Toledo 3-2. I mean, all these teams that are 5-4, 6-4, they're still trying to get to that MAC title game, and this could be it's going to be one of two things. Miami, Ohio is going to win, separate themselves from the pack, and go 5-1, and really put themselves in the driver's seat, or Toledo is going to really muddy the waters more here and try to make this difficult for Miami, Ohio. Make it more interesting down the stretch. As we go dig further, let's take a look at who's doing what. Tucker Gleason's the quarterback for Toledo. 66.5 completion percentage and 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Average yards per catch, the ADOT is 12.3. Not a bad year. Could probably get better with the turnovers, but that's where they're at. If you look at what they do, Toledo passes the ball an average of 32 times a game, and they rush about 5 times more at 37 times a game. So that's where they're at with that. They're a little bit more pass, a little bit more rush than pass. So let's see what they've done and who they've played this year. Okay, their last 5 games, we could go up to the non-major. They're splitting wins and losses. Win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win. Does the pattern happen here? I mean, if we look at it, like we said, Miami, Ohio is 3-1 in a tie, last 5 at home. But Toledo is 5-4, their last 9 versus Miami, Ohio. Let's take a look at the game logs. Let's see what they do. Okay. They have 8 turnovers on the year, 6 of them by interception. If we look at how they get into the end zone, they got 17 rushing touchdowns, and they got 19 passing. So they're very well balanced under Coach Candle. And if you look at last week, they had 5 touchdowns against the Northern Illinois team, as we say, 2-7 on the year. Then they lost versus Washington State, and then they beat up on Kent State. So that's their last 3 games, and they have 8 passing touchdowns and 3 rushing in the last 3 games. So their last 3 weeks, they're getting in through the air. Had 3 rushing touchdowns last week, which is pretty good. But again, it was against Northern Illinois, and they absolutely smacked Northern Illinois up in that game. If we want, we could take a look and see how that game transpired. Team stats in that game: Toledo was 29 for 134 on the ground, 29 rushes, 3 touchdowns, 443 total yards, penalties 10 for 92. So they're going to want to look to clean that up in a game like this. Okay? Now, their opponents this year have turned over the ball 13 times. So they're +5 in the turnovers, and they get teams to turn the ball over in a couple ways. 7 interceptions, 6 fumble losses for their opponents this year. Teams are getting in the end zone on Toledo. Only 8 passing touchdowns and 9 rushing. So, again, we factor in the fact that they're not really playing the toughest of schedule. So, but teams are getting in a balanced attack. If you look at the last 2 weeks, last week they gave up no touchdowns. The week before that, they gave up 4. The week before that, they gave up 1. The week before that, they gave up 4. Week before that, they gave up none. Week before that, they gave up 2. So I expect, obviously, Miami, Ohio to be on the board here in this game. And if we look at the statistics for Toledo, we look at to see who's getting it done. Kenji Christian's got 3 touchdowns on the ground. Tucker Gleason, the quarterback's got 4. DeMonte Tatum's got 8 touchdowns rushing this year, 114 carries for 637 yards, 5.6 a carry. Pretty solid. In the air, Junior Vandross has got 9 touchdowns. He leads the MAC. Junior Vandross III. That's going to be the guy that's going to be the main valve there for them. And then on the ground, DeMonte Trainum is their guy there. So those 2 guys right there are their two guys that are scoring. Trainum's got 9 touchdowns. Vandross has got 9. Kenji Christian's got 4. Tucker Gleason's got 4. 36 touchdowns on the year. But again, like I said, against lesser competition. If we look at interceptions, look at Braden Owls. He's got 4 interceptions. He leads the conference there. That's a solid number. He's got 4 of the 7 interceptions for Toledo. Andre Fuller leads the conference in deflected passes. So those are the 2 guys back there, a safety and the cornerback. They can deflect, they can intercept. You want to get the ball down against these guys because they can deflect. So 30 deflected passes, 6 fumble recoveries, 7 forced fumbles. Let's take a look at their kicker. Let's also look at Bryson Hammer, another one leading the conference. He's got 22 punt returns for 243 yards, 11 yards per punt return. Eric Williams has got a punt return touchdown. So they got some guys that earn the bold ink that let you know they're leading the conference. But again, strength of schedule, not that solid. Extra points, Dylan Cunningham, he's got 37 for 37 extra points. He ain't missing. And then he's 6 for 8 on field goals as well. Their punter, Emilio Duran, with 40.8 per punt. So you look at them, I'm not really impressed because, like I said, it is the 129th worst schedule SOS in the nation. So let's see let's take a look at Miami, Ohio. Miami, Ohio, Chuck Martin. This is a battle of 2 coaches that have been there for a while. Chuck Martin don't have any conference accolades as far as coach of the year. He is 2-4 in bowl games, 70-71. So Candle's got a bit more experience and a better record over time. But Chuck Martin, he's been at Miami, Ohio since 2014. Still getting wins, finding ways to win. Offensively, they pass the ball. Miami, Ohio passes the ball 25 times a game, but they rush it 36. So they're more skewed towards the rush than pass. So a little bit more imbalance compared to what Toledo likes to do. And we did say that their strength of schedule is not that much better. They're 127th in the nation. So both these teams have played not the greatest competition, right? We know that Miami, Ohio is leading in the conference as far as wins and losses. They're 4-1. This game means a lot to both teams. If Miami, Ohio wins, they put themselves in the driver's seat to get to that MAC championship game, okay? And they're passing the ball and they're running the ball, but passing the ball a little bit, running the ball a little bit more than they are passing, about 11 times a game. DeQuan Finn, quarterback there, 9 touchdown passes, 6 interceptions, okay? He was the 2023 MAC Player of the Year. He's been at Toledo, Baylor, and Miami, Ohio. He is a 7th year senior. Back in 2023, he led the conference, the MAC, in yards, touchdown passes, and interceptions, and yards, adjusted yards after catch, and yards per catch with the ADOT, and then also yards per game. So he was, in 2023, he was a big deal. Then he went to Baylor, and then he made his way back after that one season at Baylor, and here he is in his senior year. Okay? Let's see who else is getting it done here. On the ground, DeQuan Finn's got 4. Deshaunte Jones has got 4. Jordan Brunson's got 2. Yards receiving, look at Cameron Perry. He leads the conference in yards per reception with 26.3, and he leads the team with touchdowns with 4 touchdowns. Brian Shane's got 2, and Kenny Tracy's got 2 touchdowns as well. They got 23 touchdowns for scrimmage. So we've seen that Toledo has 36 yards, touchdowns from scrimmage, and Miami, Ohio's got 23. Defense and fumbles. Okay. 10 interceptions, 25.5 sacks, 36 passes deflected, and 4 forced fumbles. So a little bit better numbers there on the defensive side of the ball. And then their kicker, Dom Dozibin, 24-24, 14 for 16 for field goals. And their punter, Pierce Stanton, is averaging about 41.8 yards per punt. If I'm looking at this game, let's take a look at the odds here real quick, courtesy of FanDuel. And let's see what the line is looking like now. Okay, so Toledo is -4.5. Okay, and the over-under is 45.5. Now, after everything I just looked at, I'd like to just take one quick little second and think about everything we just talked about. If you're following along, you know both these teams can get in both ways. Toledo's a little bit more balanced as far as rushing and passing for their touchdowns. DeQuan Finn's not having the greatest year, okay? And like we said, the coach, I mean, we look at this team and we say, what stands out? I mean, this is a hard cap for me. They are coming off the road loss, and now they're coming home. Okay, so they had a bunch of wins, and now they're coming home off the loss. And Toledo is alternating wins and losses since here. Loss, win, loss, win, loss, win. Now, patterns like that, you got to be careful with. It's not the end-all, be-all, but I just think that from everything I'm looking at, I mean, I look at the quarterback. I want to see what they do home and away. I mean, they're 0-4 on the road, as you can see here, right? They're 0-4 on the road this year, so 5-0 at home. But why are they laying 5.5? I mean, I'm trying to understand this. Against the MAC, they're 3-2. Okay. 215 total yards per game on their defensive split. They're not letting up a lot of... and they're averaging 265 passing yards and 183 rushing. Defensively, 149 and 215. So they're letting up 149 passing and only 66 rushing against MAC teams. But on the offensive end, they're putting up 265 passing and 182 rushing. So if we take a look and see what the Miami, Ohio likes to do on their splits, let's take a look there. Okay, offensively against MAC teams, they're putting up 197 passing yards and 179 rushing for a total of 376 a game. And then defensively against MAC teams, they're giving up 199 and 102 rushing. 199 passing and 102 rushing. I want to take a look. I want to see about this kid, because quarterback play is very, very important when we cap here, because those are the guys, the quarterbacks. So we got Gone Finn and Tucker Gleason, 66.5 completion percentage. That bold number has got to mean that he's the worst in the conference. 66.5. I mean, he's got 15 touchdown passes and 5 interceptions. He's having a better year than the quarterback over there. Toledo needs the game. The question is, 5.5 just seems like a big, big number. Why? 4.5? I mean, if you were to look at this game, you would think with the home field advantage, they would be a little bit more, this would be more of a pick-em in this game. If I'm looking at the strength of schedule, the SRS, 45.5 does look a little low, if you ask me. I mean, Toledo looks like the side, right? Let's face it. They're going to be a little bit more amped up, but they are coming off a win. So that factors into this call here. You got Miami, Ohio coming off the road loss. Now they're coming home. And Toledo is coming off a win, but not against a good team. Okay, they played Northern Illinois. So that's the only reason that I can see this line being 4.5. Because if you were to ask me, 4.5 looks like a great number to take here. Now, I know Tucker Gleason's having a great season, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, but he has experience too, right? This is his 6-year senior and a 7th-year senior quarterback. So both these guys are well positioned. Right there off the bat, it leads me to an over. I don't know why. I just got 2 experienced guys, 2 teams that haven't played tough schedules this year. I'm already like clicking with the over mentally as I think about this. And, like I said, this kid hasn't had a bad year. I want to see what he's done, where he's gotten the touchdowns from. Okay, he had 3 of them against Akron. Okay, he had 4 against Kent State. So 7 of his 15 came against questionable teams. He had 4 against Kent State, and he only had 2 last week. And he's only got 5 interceptions on the year. Okay, 2 at Western Michigan was a bad game, and they lost that game. But if you look in their wins this year, they're covering that total, that spread, every single time. So if they win, they're likely covering the spread. When they lose, they're keeping it close in a couple of them. And then the one game they got beat 7-28. They need the game a little bit more. Okay. Now if we look at the schedule here, and we go back to, because this one's a tough one. This one's not jumping out at me, but I am leaning with the over so far. And then, it's good to talk this out. Let's see what Daquan Finn has done in his games this year as far as like where he's getting his, who's he getting his touchdowns against. He has 2 here. So 2 at Ohio is pretty solid, right? 2 against Eastern Michigan, maybe not so much. And then 2 against Nevada, Las Vegas. When they lose, you see last week they covered that spread that they have up now, that 4.5. They covered the spread here, 38-41, and then the other 2 losses they didn't. So they've covered 2 of their games where they lost, whereas Miami, Toledo's covered the spread in every game they've won this year. Whereas in the losses for Miami, Ohio, they've covered a couple of those losses. 2 of their 4 losses, they covered that spread that's put up there tonight. Now, I think Miami, Ohio, from the metrics, looks like they have a better defense. The quarterback, I would give the edge to Toledo. If I'm going to make a call in this game, Wager Detective is going to call the over here. I mean, that seems like the viable call in this game. Over 45.5. And if I had to lean aside, I'm going to say Miami plus 4.5 seems to me to be a stronger play. They're coming off the loss. I know Toledo needs this game more to stay in the MAC picture, but listen, Miami, Ohio could put themselves in a great position if they can win this game and pretty much guarantee that they're going to be in that MAC championship game, and maybe they want to get Toledo out of there. And I think they have the ability to do it, keep the game close. Both teams have good field goal kickers, but my final call on this one, my stronger lean, is going to be over 45.5 in the Toledo-Miami game, and then my second pick on that game is going to be Miami plus 4.5. This is Wager Detective coming to you from Atlantic City, November 12th, 2025. It's 5 of 1 in the afternoon. I'm on my lunch break. 5 more minutes until that's over, and guess what? I'll be back home capping on later on. So that's Wager Detectives called November 12th, 2025, over 45.5 in the Toledo game, as well as Miami plus the 4.5 as the second stronger play on that game. This is Wager Detective. I'll talk to you soon.